So I decided to become an ecosystem builder so that I could help the next generation of entrepreneurs do what they want to do and therefore be successful much faster. And what I've done for the last 14 years have been building the ecosystem of Bangalore, the ecosystem of India, ecosystem of Singapore, Malaysia, and then now uh, moved on to doing this for Microsoft because Microsoft wanted to get connected with startups. And then now I'm doing it for one particular state in India called Telangana, which is, in my mind, the youngest state and therefore also the startup state of India. And they have the hunger to really grow just like any of you as entrepreneurs would want to. So I feel that there are so many things that we have already learned from Silicon Valley, the things that they have worked on that makes it work in a way that everything comes together. The startups, the corporates, the investors, the academia, and the government. Well, people talk about Stanford doing what they did, Berkeley being the academic partners. All corporates have their, innovation arms sitting inside Silicon Valley. Even if they're not doing anything, they want to get a pulse of where innovation is going by having an office there. Investors, academia, and the government. Government is a new entrant into this whole thing, and I firmly believe while they don't have a role to play on a day-to-day basis, they still have a role to play in the policy and their ability to create the right frameworks upon which rest of the ecosystem can be built. So if all these elements come together, you actually begin to see magic. This is the state of Telangana. This is what it looks like. And it was carved out about 5 years ago from another state, and now there are two separate states. So what you began as a 400 startup state is now a 2,000 plus startup state, just in 4 years. Now, it is one thing to say, well, we have a great number of startups. It's easy to do that. But in addition to that, you also begin to see that a lot of the multinationals that are building the next generation products for the world markets, 120 of them, what we call as the global capability centers, are based in Hyderabad, and 20 of them already working with startups. Okay, so they're not completely oblivious or disconnected, they're part of it. Indian corporations are actually working with them. 15 of them are working with these Indian corporates. There is tinkering labs, incubation centers, about 60 of them. 10 of them are supported by the government, but there are 50 of them that are outside of that. So you also see that the premier education institutions, all of them, without an exception, is working with startups. Then you see research labs working with startups. And the most impressive thing for me is that government is actually procuring from startups. If you really unlock that one entity in a ecosystem, that the government starts to say, okay, I want to be innovative, I want to be part of this innovation ecosystem, and I want to procure from startups, that's a huge thing. As you can see, the numbers are still small, but this is the largest that you will ever find in any state in India procuring from startups at this point in time. So that is the kind of embrace that the startups get from the entire ecosystem in actually creating something like this. And that's what I really call as an innovation ecosystem. So there was no serendipity, there was no trial and error. We said all of us need to work together to make this thing happen. And that's when magic begins to happen. Also, at the same time, well, Silicon Valley seems to be a gold standard, if you will, for certain things that have worked extremely well in great numbers. You also see that 80% of the things that have happened can be replicated from day one. It doesn't necessarily need for us to do a similar trial and error anymore. At the same time, the new technologies that are emerging, which are like digital technologies, AI, ML, or AI, AR, VR, IoT, all of these are actually, creating a level playing field for all of us. So that if you have some great problems to solve and you have some good technologists that actually can work on it, They can be sitting in California, or they can be sitting in Melbourne, they can be sitting in Hyderabad, it doesn't matter. They can really create a global technology company. It could be a unicorn in the coming years. But all that can be done because the opportunities are no longer, localized. The opportunities are globalized from day one. These are some of the other organizations that we work with. I don't want to dwell on them, but there are other people that work on the women entrepreneurship, on hardware startups, rural entrepreneurship, training and skilling, and so on and so forth. So that way, everybody is coming together to make this thing happen. I'll just spend a few minutes on what we are doing at T-Hub, because this is, I think, the core of what I am trying to share with you as, the essence of the Silicon Valley strategy. One is to start working with startups at various levels. So we have a family of programs that we call incubation programs that are where the startups are just beginning to figure out their product market fit, and they're trying to get as much mentoring help as they can to make sure that they are progressing well. Then what we call the acceleration, where the companies have figured out what products to build, what the customers look like, how much are they willing to pay, and how long these sales cycles take, right? And now they are saying they will raise some venture capital, and they want to really start accelerating their growth. They want to go into a different market, build new products, whatever. Accelerator programs are a little bit more heavy lifting, more personalized for the startups, but important ones nevertheless. But this is something that not necessarily all ecosystems do, because they think, okay, once you've raised some money, you don't need any help. You can just move on, get on to cruise through and become a unicorn. In fact, they are the ones who require even more help than ever before. And therefore, how do you continue to stay involved? How do you continue to create value in the journey of the startup? And then there's scaling, which is basically beyond the time that they require any help of the external types, but they actually come. They have great professional teams. They have great management teams. They have raised money. There's money in the bank, but at the same time, they require a lot of other assistance, especially as it means in terms of regulation and policies and so on and so forth, because most of these technology startups are now in the gray area, where regulation is not clear and what they are doing, and how do you really help them break the barriers and grow beyond what they have been able to do otherwise. The second thing, which is a very important element of building any kind of an ecosystem, and all you entrepreneurs should be very cognizant of, is where is the demand coming from? So don't look at how far how far you can see beyond your noses. Is it here in Australia that you are looking for the market, or the product that you have built and it's so effective and so good at solving the problems that the customers are looking for? Where are the customers actually sitting? So what we do at T-Hub is actually spend a lot of time in opening up this demand for you. So there are lots of corporations out there, lots of governments out there that are oblivious of the fact that startups could be selling them some product or some service that will actually transform their growth patterns. So how do you make them cognizant of that? How do you help them begin the journey of innovation is an important thing. It's very, very hard. Dealing with startups is so much easier. This is 100 times harder. But if you do this, startups thrive because the demand for them starts emerging from these people. So this is something that we are made a central piece of our strategy in creating that demand, so that everything else will follow. Startups will come. If startups come, venture capitalists will come. All of those things will happen automatically. But creating that demand in that location is a huge thing. And then finally, taking all our learnings, taking all our understandings, and somehow encapsulating them in a way that we can actually replicate it with other other incubators, other accelerators, VCs, and so on and so forth. Capacity building is what we do in the ecosystem office. We do a lot of international programs. That's the reason I'm here, to invite Australian startups to look at the Indian market, and then Indian startups to look at the Australian market. I mean, this is what it's all about. Because, as I said earlier, the markets for the startups today are global. And if you can look at that as an opportunity, I think there's a lot of things that you could potentially do. And not to say that you need to go global day one. You could do maybe the first few customers here, raise, get to a certain level of maturity, and then look at a global expansion later on. But those are an integral part of building ecosystems. And then finally, a lot of community and events where you generate the, interest in startups. Of course, we have our specific areas, just like we tell the startups, you need to be focused, focus, focus. Well, these are our focus areas. We focus on healthcare, fintech. That happens to be what we do. Doesn't necessarily mean that is replicable here in Melbourne or for Victoria, but I'm just kind of giving you some ideas. And advanced technologies is an integral part of a lot of the ecosystems. It is becoming important for having the right talent and having the right opportunities to build the right technologies around AI, ML, AR, VR, IoT. And of course, we also spend a lot of time on building the social impact startups, because not all problems that you solve have a very clear profit motive or a business model motive where that you can do it for just the commercial reasons. It's also when you're doing it for the right reasons, for doing the social impact and not necessarily the commercial impact.